Unfortunately, it won't be number 16, Jason Shaner, today for Oregon State. He's resting things up because he's wrestled a lot. We talked to head coach Chris Pendleton before the match. It's a measure of rest at this point. You want to be fresh for December with a lot of matches under his belt. The freshman from Corvallis, Gabe Whisenhunt, against Roman Bravo Young, the #1 wrestler in the country at 133.
Shaner had about 18 matches at the beginning of December, and Coach Pendleton said it's not a sprint. It's a marathon. He wants to make sure his guys are fresh and ready for the end of the year, and that's why they let him sit down for a little bit. And now we get to see electricity personified and the returning national champion. Ladies and gentlemen, you're in for a treat in Roman Bravo Young. He's so good.
There was definitely some question as to whether he'd take the mat, given the way the season has played out for RBY. He's 2-0 this year and on a 38-match winning streak. But he's wrestled in the Lock Haven and Ryder duels this year. Final scores of his wins, Rock, 23-8 and 23-9. So expect to see a lot of scoring here in this match.
That's it.
Whisenhunt, the freshman of Oregon State, a 4-time state champion. And from a very athletic family as well. His mom, Bea, the director of operations with the Oregon State gymnastics team, an accomplished athlete herself. And Dad, Josh, a former Beavers wrestler as well.
He's in on the hips. A little roll action. That's a takedown by the four-time state champion.
So the freshman with the early lead over the senior and defending 2-time national champion, Roman Bravo Young. It's 2-1.
That's what you love about freshmen. They don't know. They don't know that you should be nervous. They don't know that this is a 2-time national champ. But just like for a little, he had a single. It looked like he almost had a cradle there.
It's 2, and then Whisenhunt safely gets to the belly to avoid any back points there.
Tell you, this is great because he's a freshman. He said, I have nothing to lose. Let me see how good this Roman Bravo Young guy is.
Takedown 2 for RBY, the escape for Whisenhunt, and it's even at 3. A flurry of scoring in the opening 60 seconds.
Oh, look at that smooth high seat, table it, step behind, trip the leg. But good wizard there by Whisenhunt.
And RBY covers up 2 more.
Right when Whisenhunt had that whizzer, RBY cracked on the shoulder, put the pressure and followed.
One red. Neutral.
Never stopped moving. Even on the outside. Remember, in college wrestling, if any part of the body is on the inside of the circle, they're in.
And it doesn't have to be touching either. It can just be above it, like a cylinder going up to the ceiling. 2 more for RBY. He's so quick to cut for the escape because he knows he can go right back and keep scoring.
And he kept wrestling. He didn't say, let's just go out of bounds. He said, look, I'm going to continue to wrestle. And once he kept wrestling, he scored. That's what all good wrestlers do. They always wrestle through positions. You hear them wrestle through the position. Sit on the ankle, looking at the clock to see what I have to do. So I'm going to let him up. 40 seconds, feeling good. Whisenhunt is going in for that double. Strong whizzer there by the returning national champion, RBY.
Back-to-back national championships, back-to-back undefeated seasons for Roman Bravo Young.
So Whisenhunt had a short time to try and do something, but RBY is just giving him heavy hips.
Rock, at the beginning of the period, we alluded to the fact that it wasn't necessarily a sure thing that RBY was going to take the mat. Here's what he had to say earlier in the week about managing his schedule. If I want to wrestle, I'll wrestle. If I don't, I don't. I don't think a duel in November means too much to me. Now, here we are in December, of course. I'm here for the big show, and that means come March in Tulsa.
And I tell you what, he's earned that right. I mean, you're right. Nobody remembers your losses in November or December. They don't remember your losses in March in the national championships. And Roman Bravo Young doesn't really lose. It hasn't done so in the past 2 years in March. So some people may say that's a little conceited, a little cocky. He's earned the right. Why risk injuries when you need to be healthy in March?
I think the biggest reason that it stood out is normally from the Penn State wrestling room is what you hear is very measured. commentary about what's to come. It's confident but measured, and that took it to a different level there from Roman Bravo Young. But when you've done what he's done, he's one of 4 returning national champions on this team that has won 9 of the last 11 titles. You certainly understand where it comes from. 7-6 on the escape point.
Oh, you would think it's only 7-6. Look at it. Not a great shot, but once again, Whisenhunt is wrestling through the position. But just the quickness, the intelligence of Roman Bravo Young. This is where Whisenhunt has to really weather the storm, because at this point, he's starting a little misdirection, but Whisenhunt's back in. It's 9-7. Whisenhunt is wrestling very well against the national champion, but he's got to weather this storm because Roman Bravo Young is starting to see where he can score.
Also a minute 40 of riding time for Roman Bravo Young. Back in on another shot, looking to circle the corner, and he does, to tack 2 more onto his total. 13-8. Keep in mind what he's done this year. He's scored 46 points over the course of 2 matches. Most anybody scored against him is 9.
I tell you what, I like what I'm seeing from Gabe Whisenhunt. Lightning fast. This is Roman Bravo Young. He comes in, shot, defended, kept his hips moving, covered the leg, gets the takedown. Whisenhunt, as you see, out to side, trying to. Ooh.
And right before that came, you heard from Chris Pendleton in the Oregon State corner. Watch for the cartwheel.
Still in control. The referee still has not awarded the 1 yet. He's still saying there's a 1, now there's an escape because there was a break in action. The official did not want to give the points too early for a 1 and a quick 2. Whisenhunt was going for a little inside trip action.
A lot of credit due here to Whisenhunt, who's early on in his college career. He has been aggressive here against RBY.
Yes, he has, and he's going after him. You got to respect this from the freshman. But right now,
2 more.
RBY is just a different type of good. He does it well from all positions. But Gabe Whisenhunt is not giving up anything. He's still wrestling hard. And that's what you want as a coach. At least give me effort. We want to compete. And Whisenhunt is competing.
If he gets an escape here, he'll equal the highest score anybody's put up against RBY this year.
He's still in control, meaning RBY is still in a control position. The official has not given up an escape yet. He's got to come up through the middle. Watch a little air ball action, but look at Gabe Whisenhunt. He might come through here.
13 seconds left, 3rd period. RBY still hasn't given up control here after the latest takedown, but his lead effectively 17-8 with 2.5 minutes of riding time. On the verge of bonus points here. Credit to Gabe Whisenhunt, stepping in for Jason Shaner. He holds Roman Bravo Young to his lowest scoring total in 3 matches this year. Roman Bravo Young improves to 3-0 with a major decision over Gabe Whisenhunt, the freshman of Oregon State.
Whisenhunt wrestled well, but it's the Roman Bravo Young show. He scores, and he scores at will.
A 2-time NCAA champion, Carter Starocci, the junior out of Erie, Pennsylvania, against 28th-ranked Mateo Olmos of Oregon State.
Mateo's shot right off the whistle.
They met a year ago in this duel, and it was a tech fall win for Starocci, 17-2 against Olmos.
Olmos is going at Starocci. Starocci's not going to get rattled.
4th-year starter in the black and orange singlet against Starocci, who has a 31-match winning streak coming into action here today. His last loss, March 6th of 2021 against Iowa's Michael Kemmerer in the Big Ten tournament. One big streak already continued. That was Roman Bravo Young at 133 pounds. his 39th straight win on the Nittany Lion side.
Starocci's just stalking. He's so confident in his defense that he can just move forward, and he feels that if someone just gets to his leg, he's still going to be able to defend. Just moving forward.
Uphill climb here for Olmos against Starocci, two-time NCAA champ last year. Did it in overtime against Makai Lewis of Virginia Tech. It's been continued greatness at 174 pounds as well after Starocci took over from Mark Hall for Penn State.
One of the good things about Penn State that you'll see is that they get the blue chippers, but they also develop them. So it's not like, oh, good sweep single. This is what Starocci is really good at. Brings it up, tables it, keeps it high in the armpit, and brings it down for a takedown.
He collects the points on the edge, 1:45 into the first period.
You know, I think Starocci's best attribute is his mental toughness. Oh, yes, he knows wrestling. He has a good single. He's very good on top. But mentally, he's just one of the toughest guys out there. You've seen him in situations where he had to ride people out for a whole period. He just stays so tough.
And he's shown he's still got it against the best, to no surprise. Back on November 22nd in the NWCA All-Star Classic. Matches that don't count for the wrestlers' records, but he went up against Makai Lewis again in a rematch of March's NCAA championship and beat Lewis 2-0.
And rode him out for a whole period.
It was an escape and a riding time point. That was the difference.
Once again, once he gets to that single, his percentage of finishing is just so strong. Keeping the pressure, the weight on. Looking at the clock, sees that there's 25 seconds left, and what do we want to do here?
Looks like it might be blood time here for Starocci. And just got a little trickle out of the nostril there.
And here it is. Very good at a knee pull, sweep single, gets behind. That's one thing that you need to do is get behind your opponent, because if you try to stay to the side, they can square up. But when you get behind your opponent, it's very, very difficult for them to finish.
So Starocci, one of the returning champions. Max Dean last year, a first-time champion. Nick Lee has exhausted his eligibility. 4 of those guys are back in Penn State, the #1 team in the country. Iowa sitting at #2 right now, their greatest threat for yet another NCAA championship this year. And it's Big Ten heavy in the top 5 right now in the NWCA poll. Ohio State is 3rd and Michigan is 5th.
You know what's crazy about that? 40% of your lineup are returning national champions. That's just crazy. 10 wrestlers, 4 returning national champions. Looks like a little tight waist tilt here. Tight waist meaning arm is around the stomach. Nothing. He's still trying to score with short time.
Rock to the top 10 right now, as we mentioned. These are all teams that were contenders last year. Iowa, we saw the return of Spencer Lee in their Cyhawk matchup against Iowa State. Ohio State was 13th last year, and Iowa State, #6 right now, was a top 20 finisher as well.
Back at it. Starocci is not going to let Olmos breathe. He'll stay on and go right back to the snaps.
Good.
Snap, hands on, walking forward. This just wears you down. Pulling, prodding, walking forward. And then it gets into the official's head like, oh, who's the aggressor here? And clearly looks like Starocci's the aggressor. Moving forward.
Almost acting like he's wiping away the hand of Starocci. He brings it right back. Like a windshield wiper that can't keep up with the rain, driving down the highway, and he's right back in again. He is out-energized almost.
We saw that at 133, we saw that at 157, and now at 74. Penn State wrestlers wrestle on the out-of-bounds line. They do not stop wrestling. They want to score there.
And they've succeeded so far. winning all but one match. They're here at 174 with 3 to go.
That was an optional start. Optional start, meaning the top wrestler says, I have the option to let you up or just to crowd you. Like we just talk about these Penn State fans, they're really watching wrestling. They quietly watch, and they know when to get excited. And at this point, clearly Starocci is the aggressor. I wouldn't be surprised if the officials think the same thing. Back to that single. He tables it. And then he works his way up and climbs across the body, reaches the leg like a windshield wiper, sucks it in. Watches Starocci. This is what he does.
Putting a hand on the head of the opponent there. What's the psychological message that he's sending there? Even when it's wiped away, he says, no, come right back with it.
Oh, yeah, I'm not letting you go. We got another 4 minutes or 2 minutes, whatever it might be, to wrestle. It's all about the fact Starocci brought the leg out of bounds now. Who you call stalling for that? No, but, man, he wants to keep wrestling. Don't want to waste time on the out of bounds.
Angel Rivera, the official, picks up some bloody tissue that had fallen out of one of the nostrils of Carter Starocci.
And he did it without any gloves on. Starocci, not only does he lace the ankle, he lifts the ankle. Olmos is going to take neutral.
Minute 17 of riding time here for Starocci, who's up 9-2. Just 2 escape points for Olmos through 2 periods.
Oh, good high C.
It's the angle, yes, it's the angle.
He's going to bring it across over top of his body.
Yep, back to it.
Good fight here by Olmos. Starocci's pushing the leg down. He's going to try and turn in.
Head high.
And now he's going to try and crunch the leg. Now what Olmos has to do is try to get high leg, try to get the legs up. But if he stays too tight here, Starocci can put a near fall position after he gets a takedown. Gets a takedown, and Olmos does a good job of just bailing out. He was not going to get anything good by holding onto the leg.
Starocci cleanly on top, 11-2. 1 minute, 30 seconds of riding time and increasing.
Now what Starocci is doing is rolling the wrist. He's going back to that tight waist tilt. No back points, even though I'm at 45 degrees. The back has to be at least 4 inches off the mat. First stall call there against Olmos. Starocci just keep working. He just wants to not just win, but he wants to send a message to everybody that he wrestles.
Well, and what he's going to do here, Rock, as well, although it's already heavily in favor of the Nittany Lions at 16-3, is he's lining himself up for a major decision as well.
Correct. Correct. Mental games right there. You make the guy get down to his knees and you just stand up and make him stand up. Use more energy. All the little matches in the match.
And those are the things you talk about come March when they're up against opponents who are perhaps their equals. 1 through 10, those are the little things that make a difference.
Yep, exactly. You make him work extra. Don't give him a chance to stand up. Make him get down and then change your mind. Say, you stand up now.
Riding time point secured. Starocci on the verge of an 11-point victory here at 174 pounds. He'll stay perfect on the year, improve to 4-0, and win his 32nd straight match. He has not lost since March of 2021. It'll be 20-3 Nittany Lions. Another dominant performance from the top-ranked wrestler at 174 pounds, Carter Starocci.
Carter Starocci, mentally tough, but he's also got a little mean streak in him. And you want that from your top wrestler. I'm going to win, and I'm going to let you know I'm dominant.
Max Dean of Penn State and 11th ranked Tanner Harvey for the Beavers.
The question that we're all asking, how is Max Dean going to respond after a 2-match losing streak? And Tanner Harvey, hey, was that Vegas runner-up finish real? Is he legit? We're going to find out here. Good shot there by Harvey. Now watch a little limp knee by Max Dean. He gets a really gimpy, and then he just kicks out. No takedown.
Back to their feet. But the big question coming into this match, How will Max Dean fare? His record, 5-2. Notable because he had only lost one match since 2019 coming into this season and was ranked #1 before back-to-back losses against Ethan Laird of Ryder and Michael Beard of Lehigh.
One of the things that we're going to find out is, can Tanner Harvey wrestle the whole time? Because Max Dean will continue to try and wear on you. We've seen in the past how he gets wins late in matches. But Tanner Harvey had a really, really strong CKLV tournament. Lost in the finals, but wrestled very well.
I was against Isaac Trumbull of NC State, the #7 ranked wrestler in the country at 197 pounds. And Harvey brings a great resume with him to Corvallis as well. He was a junior college champion, went to American University, was a 2-time NCAA qualifier there at 184 pounds. But Dean starts off the scoring with the takedown.
He did. He snapped, went one way, went the other way, and it just becomes a hustle. Who's going to hustle to get behind it? And Dean won that hustle. It's always good to get the first takedown. It just helps you, your confidence, but it also puts a statement in the bottom wrestler that now I have to come back. And we know that Dean is pretty tough on top. Good bow and arrow.
Move it over.
Dean of Penn State, the NCAA runner-up in 2019. Two-time All-American at Cornell. 2020 as the Olympic redshirt year. He was following in the footsteps at Cornell. His older brother Gabe, a 2-time national champion for the Big Red.
46 seconds, first period. Pretty important for Harvey to get out, or at least show glimpses that he's getting out, because Dean is pretty solid on top. So Harvey's got to explode. The leg got in, and now it's going to be a different type of, ooh, little roll action. And he gets out.
Point Harvey.
Confidence builder for Harvey.
His first for the big fella in his first year on the mat with the Beavers. Transferring in last year, but not wrestling any matches due to injury.
Let's see if he goes back to the little sweep single that he had. He had a single to the right leg of Max Dean.
Right hand in.
First 3 minutes separated by a point, and Dean holds exactly a minute of riding time. So 5-2 on the year for Dean. He fell against Ethan Laird, sudden victory, 3-1, number 12 wrestler in the country at Ryder. And then December 4th, Michael Beard, a former Penn State teammate. That was an 11-9 decision, so both have been close.
Immediately you see Dean put his elbows in to seal the side so that Harvey couldn't get underneath. 3-1, we talked about this earlier, Mike, is that this 3-1 period, 3-1 score in the second period is pretty important, because Dean wants to get a takedown to open it up, and certainly Harvey wants to get a takedown to close it. Theme we're seeing again, Penn State, hand, oh, snap down right to the leg. Snap the head down, and now he's going to table it, meaning putting the leg on your thigh. So here, Max Dean is one of the shorter than 197 pounders. So how does he finish one guy that's pretty tall like Harvey? Well, he's going to try and work his way up, but nothing yet. We're going to give a pass, and he gets the takedown.
Harvey was trying so hard to keep the far leg away from Dean and finally succumbed to the pressure.
So he's got to get out of here. Nothing. Dean is keeping the pressure forward, keeping it on him.
Harvey back to his feet and gets the escape point. It's 5-2, a minute 20 of riding time for Max Dean.
Harvey's still in this match. He has choice third period. But since that early flurry in the first period, He really hasn't had an opportunity to score. "14 seconds. Maybe here to Oregon State. Team said keep it on him. Keep it on him. Meaning Harvey, stay on him now.
You get your colors confused? You're looking ahead to our second matchup today, Rock?
You are reading my mind. Yes.
The black and orange of the Cowboys of Oklahoma State as well. Shane Sparks, Jim Gibbons will have that right after we're done here, and we'll get you out to Norman for the 185th meeting between those two.
So here's Dean. He had already snapped down, and he worked up, and then he just kind of scrambled behind. Sometimes in wrestling, it's not like a move. It's just kind of just a feel. And he felt the right position to score.
What do you mean by that? It's not a move, but a feel.
Sometimes it's not as linear, like this is the next move. Sometimes it's just, I feel weird. I feel I need to move my body. And sometimes you just have to hustle. Sometimes when you go to get a go behind, oh, here's a little feel here. Is there a move for this? Oh, he almost had the standing reversal. When I say feel, it's just like, hey, let me just figure stuff out, improvising, kind of like a stage actor. Just improvise, just flow.
The yes end of sports, if you will. That's the key to improv.
You're right. "5-3.
Separated by a takedown at minute 40 riding time for Dean.
Dean does a good job of defending and then re-attacking. Now, at this point, Harvey has to watch the... Yep, that's what happens many times. Dean likes to spin behind, limp knee, spin behind. Harvey's got to work hard for this because he hasn't had too many opportunities to get in on Dean's legs. They're still in, now they're out.
At 44.5 seconds in the third, and the loud voice from the corner here for the Beavers has been Josh Roden, the first-year assistant. Was brought onto the staff this year, a 5-time junior college national championship winner. And a big addition to staff for Chris Pendleton.
And one of the things that Chris Pendleton has done, and I completely agree, he doesn't have any big name assistants, you know, multiple-time national champions on the D1 level, multiple-time All-Americans on the D1 level. He finds people that can coach, who can communicate and get the ideas to their wrestlers.
He's got no Division I All-Americans on his staff, which is a rarity, especially at the Power 5 level. Nevertheless, a phenomenal season for them a year ago. Short time here at 197 pounds as Dean is trying to hold off Tanner Harvey. And will do just that.
And Max Dean gets back to his winning ways. After two, Max skid back one time, defending national champion, wins a nice gritty 6-3 win over Tanner Harvey.
For Oregon State against yet another top-ranked wrestler, Greg Kerkvliet, the junior who's 3-0 to start the year.
I'm not a very tall guy, but when I stand next to Kerkvliet, he makes me look like my son standing to me. And my son is 5.
And on the weigh-ins today, Kerkvliet at 251, Dixon at 231.6. And it's Kerkvliet on the board in the first 10 seconds.
Ran right through that double. Kind of freight train.
Rock, this is an interesting year at this weight, nationally speaking, where Kerkvliet last year, an All-American for the second time, finished 4th. He lost to Gabe Steveson, who's now in the professional wrestling world, in the semifinals. Steveson was the champion again, leaving his shoes on the mat. And at this point in the season, 4 of the top 5 at heavyweight are inside the Big Ten.
The Big Ten wrestling is going to be really tough at heavyweight, and have been that way for several years now.
But do you look at it as a door-open scenario without a prolific wrestler like Gable in the field anymore?
Oh, clearly. I mean, this is, we have really solid wrestlers in the Big Ten, but would we be surprised if Mason Paris beats Kerkvliet or Cassiope beats Paris? No one will be surprised because they're so good. And Lucas Davidson at Northwestern is tough as well. A little tilt action here by heavyweight. Talk to me. This is a tilt by a man that's 250 pounds, tilted to 230-pound man.
Yep, and he's got 4.
The full allotment.
6-0 Kerkvliet, and already a minute 20 of riding time, a dominant first period for the #1 wrestler at heavyweight.
He went right back to it. The left foot is still in bounds. But no back points right there.
And you mentioned Tony Cassiope at Iowa. You'll see him when you're out in Iowa City later on this season. They take on Northwestern. We'll have that for you on ESPNU. Kerkvliet battled Cassiope at the All-Star Classic, beat him 8-5. So asserting his dominance as the top-ranked wrestler.
And one of the things that we've learned about Kerkvliet is he's now healthy. He battled some injuries early on, and now he's looking good, and he's had a few.
Ooh, what a mat return.
Yeah, he's a strong guy. He's really strong.
Yeah, his health, he talked about it on social media back in the summer of 2021. Blood clots and a staph infection, putting his training off track.
And he was still an All-American. I mean, the stuff that these student athletes go through, we just don't know. And so those that want to make unfortunate statements on social media about what they should, and again, another tilt from a heavyweight, we just don't know. We just don't know what they're going through, and they can't really defend themselves. So just be careful when you post about someone.
I think it's a good message in general, not just as it relates to athletics, but about anybody else. Whoever you meet, you never know what anybody else is going through. It's best to always be kind.
Absolutely.
That's a huge first period, Rock. This is Dixon, who's given up 20 pounds to Kerkvliet today, also moving up from 97 to heavyweight this year.
And oftentimes it takes a season or so to really get to the right weight, and especially with heavyweight. Some weight class might be a 7-pound difference, but 197 to 285 is significant.
And it's been Dixon who's on the mat today for Oregon State, as well as Brian Reyes. They're both juniors, filling in, or I should say taking over for the spot last year, held by the heavyweight, best known to the wrestling community as Gas Tank Gary.
Big shoes to fill.
10-0 Kerkvliet here in the final match of the afternoon. And when we are done here, we'll send you to Norman, Oklahoma. Shane Sparks and Jim Gibbons will bring you Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. Number 12 team in the country, the Cowboys this year.
That's going to be a good match. Oklahoma's done a very good job of using the transfer portal to bring in some heavy hitters. And Oklahoma State, Oklahoma State's John Smith, he actually wants to be tough. He always talks about being tough. Good low shot there. Really good low shot. For a person that's 6'3", to lower your level and drive through like that, he did it against Cassiope in the All-Star match. And with heavyweights, the reason why you want to stay low, because you have to be quick. You don't want to go to the hips. The hips are too strong. But if you grab their ankles, it's like timber.
As in, you're the lumberjack and you have the axe in your hands?
Bingo. So at this point, a full allotment of back points will give the tech fall victory. A tech fall victory, for those that don't know much about wrestling, is when an opponent has scored 15, has a differential of 15 points, and they stop the match.
And that's the end of the second. They're going neutral, start the third. 12-1 Kerkvliet. This is a look at your top 5 in life after Gable. Somebody's trying to grab that heavyweight crown away.
Ooh, wow.
Kerkvliet's lead is 13. The riding time point locked as well, 14-1. It's been a dominant performance.
Lets him up. See if he goes back to that double. Back at it. Kerkvliet goes right back to the double again. He's a tall heavyweight, but he also has very long arms. So you have the height, long arms, and obviously he's really strong.
Pair that with an agility, and you've got a superhuman wrestler, #1 ranked at heavyweight on the #1 team in the country.
Back to that 2-on-1 tilt. Got the 2 near fall, and
that's it. A tech fall victory for Greg Kerkvliet secures the victory for Penn State. It'll be a 31-3 final score as the #1 team in the country improves to 4-0. Oregon State drops to 2-2.
Penn State did what they were supposed to do. Dominate after the first loss to an All-American. They rolled out 9 straight wins, and they look good.